and that is a sentiment that I've seen around. It sounds more libertarian, but I've actually seen a lot of conservatives making it. Is that we should get the quote unquote get the government out of marriage. Um, and I was wondering what your thoughts on that, because that kind of strikes me as a really bad argument for conservatives to make.
Yeah, I think that that's a tough one legally, and I'm not a legal expert. Let's start there. I didn't go to law school. But for me, it seems like that would just realistically be very tough legally, because if the government completely got out of marriage, I mean, that would really include an overhaul of many federal laws and the tax code and all of that jazz. So I think that that would be almost more sweeping of some sort of a decision than the alternative. I don't know that personally I could be supportive of that sort of an idea. But I do also tend to agree that marriage is sort of a religious institution that was sort of adopted by the state to help categorize people. And potentially, if there's another way to do that and completely take marriage out of the realm altogether, I'd be willing to listen to it. But I don't think they've developed the argument enough yet, right? So okay, we get rid of marriage, then what? You know,
Right.
what comes after that?
Right. And I mean, I was talking with a friend who was making this argument. I told him I didn't quite buy it. And he said, nowhere in the Constitution does the federal government have the power to define what a marriage is, and therefore, by the 10th Amendment, it should be a state's issue. And I said, well, does that mean that the federal tax status for marriage is unconstitutional? And in your opinion, is it unconstitutional to treat married couples differently in the tax code than single people? And he said, yes, I think that's unconstitutional. And I think that's where this get the government out of marriage argument falls apart.
Right.
Conservatives think that there is an important role for the government to play in promoting marriage, in promoting stable households, in promoting two-parent families. And usually what we've come to do is use the tax code for that. Is to say,
Right.
there's a tax subsidy for being married, there's a tax subsidy for having children, there's a tax subsidy for having well, we treat certain tax credits differently if you're married than if you're single, like the earned income tax credit. And I
Right.
think that conservatives should say that there's an important role for the government to play in that form of marriage. And I think that Jonathan Last's book, What to Expect When No One's Expecting, that came out recently, is excellent on this. And it's kind of about how conservatives should promote stable two-parent households, and it doesn't really talk about what sex each parent would be, but about the benefits to children of having a two-parent household. And I think that is a kind of social policy for the GOP and for conservatives moving forward that we can relate to Americans a lot better.
Yeah.